Good afternoon, dear people of Trinity. Welcome to our Friday time together. Let's take a deep breath together, in and out. And again. As I breathe in and out, so do you. I know you are with me, and I am with you. Breathe with me, be with me for a little while. First, I have some follow-up from last week. I love it when a message comes that seems like a sign of being on the right path, like the pilgrim's shell on the Camino road. I love it when email or postings say, yes, you're on the right path. This poem arrived the evening after I posted my reflections last week when I taught you the processional right foot, right foot, left foot, step back, breathe. I want to share it with you. My grandmother once gave me a tip. In difficult times, you move forward in small steps. Do what you have to do, but little by little. Don't think about the future or what may happen tomorrow. Wash the dishes. Remove the dust. Write a letter. Make a soup. You see, you are advancing step by step. Take a step and stop. Rest a little. Praise yourself. Take another step, then another. You won't notice, but your steps will grow more and more, and the time will come when you can think about the future without crying. Also, to the parishioner who will remain nameless, who must have carefully watched me walk through the steps last week on my upstairs balcony, thank you for your feedback concerning the oak leaves and bird droppings along the path. I suppose I could say something about how the journey is messy, but actually I took your feedback to heart. Take a look. As many of you know, I am now in extreme quarantine, under strict orders from my son and his wife before I go up to care for their daughter when my daughter-in-law goes into labor with their second daughter. All my bags are packed and I'm ready to go. What I miss most is the hills I hike and the friends with whom I hike, at an appropriate distance, of course. I don't miss going to the grocery store, a job being taken over by the rest of my tiny pod. One might say that my world has gotten much, much smaller, but I'm finding that it isn't at all. I think it comes from starting to watercolor again after a long break. The result is I simply notice more. Perhaps some of you are photographers and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just a way to be more mindful, more intentional about noticing. There are so many shapes and colors and moments to witness. Roses bursting into colorful blossom. Trees creating a cathedral ceiling down across the street. Families of all sizes on bikes of all sizes. The color of the sky. The birds singing up a storm. Migrating birds flying in an amazingly accurate V formation. My dear friend Becca Stevens recently wrote this. I call her writing the gospel, according to Becca. She writes, having vision in the midst of pandemic feels impossible. Thank God we are not responsible for changing the world. Thank God we don't have to gaze into a crystal ball to predict a new thing to get us out of the old issues. Thank God all we need to do is love the world and be willing to change to love it more. To you, I want to say we can still have vision. We only need to look again and allow our sight to be full of imagination and grace. This morning, tucked into the corner of an old drawer, I found a hand-sized, dusty prayer book inscribed in 1941 to my husband's mother by her pastor. It said, "Private use," on the cover. In that tiny prayer book, I could feel security and grounding, two things I didn't even know I was needing to get on with my work and love the world. Security. I needed to feel safe. Grounding. I needed to know that I can stand on all that I've worked for and it will not collapse under me. When I left the room holding the book in my hand, there was a healing. I didn't take a class or search the world. I just saw what was before me on this ordinary day in these extraordinary times. Then I stayed with the sight long enough for it to be a vision and teach me what I need to learn. Visions can be old and as simple as considering birds and grass again. Most vision comes from within. The gift is looking at something before and finally seeing it. Seeing how extraordinary it is, seeing how sacred it feels, and seeing how it fills us with vision. We are all graced with vision. Our job is to practice seeing in the ordinary, the sacred, all around us. So here is my vision from my walk today. The birds flying in a V. What can we learn from birds like wild geese who fly in a V? When geese fly together, each goose provides additional lift and reduces air resistance for the goose flying behind it, so they can fly faster and farther. When a goose drops out of the V formation, it quickly discovers that it requires a great deal more effort and energy to fly, and most often goes back to enter into the V again. Geese rotate leadership, so none gets exhausted or burnt out. Geese honk at each other. They communicate constantly along the way. Geese help each other along the way. Beloveds, how are we meant to navigate now, to migrate to the new land God is calling us to inhabit in the face of the pandemic and in the face of the news about Matthew? What can we learn to guide us on a different new path to a new, beautiful, blessed home? I envision wild geese flying in a V. What will you see in a new way when you walk out into the world? Whatever you're doing, inside or outside, what are you meant to see in a new way that will fill you with vision, clarity, a sense of purpose, a sense of grounding, a sense of security, so that we all can fly together? Blessings and love, and happy weekend.